sorry for the wait about the videos, but for this video, but these past few months have been busy with homeschooling and things like that.
Today we will be talking about climate and how it affects us, the way it changes. Next video!
Now, yesterday, or was it the day before, I can't remember, you asked me what climate actually meant. And that made me realise that I've been doing lots of talking about stuff with you, but not really explaining the basics.
I realised that.
You realised that. So we'll go back to square one, and what we'll do is look at square one, just back to the beginning, and talk about why we want to cut our carbon dioxide emissions. And the main reason for that is that we want to stop climate change. Now, climate is quite a complicated word, and basically the world is like a big living thing. It's not just a rock that we live on. It's this big complicated.
Because it has lots of living things on it, trees, grass,
Yeah.
flowers.
And they all depend on the earth to survive.
Daddy, on Earth, and when you can see the world, and you can see blue,
That's the seas.
7 seas.
Yeah.
Aha!
Arr.
And,
So,
and green.
and green, that's the land. So the world is a big complicated
And
place.
white.
That's the snow.
Look,
Big.
white.
What?
White is
And the clouds, yeah. So the world's a big complicated place. And it has like a personality. So do you know what a personality is? Yeah? You don't? So personality is a way you can describe somebody. So how would you describe Mummy? Is she a happy person, jolly person?
She's happy.
And how would you describe Daddy? I don't know why I'm doing that. Would you say he's a bit grumpy?
Sometimes. Like this morning.
Like this morning when you woke us up at 7:30.
What?
So that is the personality of somebody. And the world has personality, as a climate. And it also has like little tiny climates. So we live in a
Microclimate.
microclimates. So we live in quite quite relaxed sort of wet climate, whereas other parts of the world they have a very dry climate.
Hot.
And that's their little personalities all over the place.
Like when you went to the desert,
Like when we went to the
and
desert.
your sandals melted.
And my sandals were melted.
And then you had to wear shoes.
Yeah, so we made a few very sweaty. So that's the personality of the world. And just like the personality of people, they're generally grumpy or they're really very happy. But then they have days when they're extremely happy or extremely grumpy. And that's basically the weather. So today's weather is really strange. We've got lovely blue sky, nice and sunny.
And
But
sometimes
extremely cold.
It's extremely cold. It just started to snow.
it just starts to snow.
So that's not sort of the personality of our weather. That's just the weather. That's just today. So what happens today is the weather. What happens throughout the year is sort of the personality. Now if we change that personality, if the personality is all sunny and happy like Mummy, but then she slowly gets more grumpier and grumpier and grumpier, it means that the sunnier days are less and the grumpier days are more. And that's what climate change is. As we change the climate, we don't change the weather on a particular day, we change the general sort of mood of the weather.
Yeah.
And that's important because, say for example, to give you an example now, so it's April, it's Easter Monday. Happy Easter! And people want to go out, it's spring, people want to go out and plant seeds. But the problem is, if we have like a frost where the ground freezes, anything they plant and start to grow all dies. So it means that they'll have to plant their seeds later and later in the year. As the climate changes and our climate gets colder and colder and colder into spring, then we'll have to change the pattern of our planting.
I never knew that.
Yes, so that's why we wait until the last frost before we start planting things. But that date might change as climate change moves the grumpy days further into summer. So that's the difference between climate and weather. Climate is the personality of the world, and the weather
So basically,
is just the mood of the world on that day.
basically, it's how you feel.
Yes, it's how the world feels. Feels? And then the weather is just what happens on that day. But what happens on that day might get worse and worse and worse and worse as time goes on if the climate gets grumpy and grumpy and grumpy and grumpy. So that's why we need to stop that grumpiness. And we'll talk about global warming another time, not in this video. We'll talk about global warming because that's what's changing the mood of the planet, is that it's warming up. And we'll talk about that in the next video. Happy?
Yeah.
Questions?
No.
Oh, no questions? Questions, Esme? What question?
Nothing.
Yay! Okay.
Like and subscribe and press the bell button.
And if you like it, please comment if you like it, if you don't, and what you would like to see next. And from now on, we'll just try to make a video every month. So look out for that.
Bye.
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 Ice cream.
No, I don't know what she said.
Esme, on the show.
On the show.
On with the show?
Yeah.
On with the show. Tell her to whisper.
On the show.
On the show. So just go whenever you're ready.
No. You should have told us.
No, don't worry.
On with the show.
On the show.
On with the show. Woody, on with the show.
On with the show.
On with the show.